Yesterday, the president said something just truly amazing about Clinton. Well, first of all, let's back up. Let's back up. First of all, in this press conference, with everything that is going on, one of the press people decided to ask him the question, can you tell me about climate change, Mr. President? Climate change? Climate change? We're facing the fiscal cliff. We've gotten rid of 4 4-stars.
There's war in Israel.
There's war in Israel today. We're printing money like it's going out of style. You've got a sex scandal going on. You've got lies and corruption and deceit. You've got the worst economy since Xerxes, to quote Pat. Mm-hmm. And you want to know about climate change? What do you say we don't worry about the problems that are 4,000 years away and maybe worry about the problems that are right here in front of us? But here's how he said. Here's how he responds.
As you know, Mark, we can't attribute any particular weather event to climate change. What we do know is the temperature around the globe is increasing.
What?
No, it's not.
No, we don't know that because it isn't increasing.
It has stopped 16 years ago. That's scientific fact. Stopped 16 years ago.
Even all the global warming alarmists are admitting that, right. And they're saying, well, but doesn't necessarily mean. Some of them have actually turned around on what it means, but some of them are still sticking to it and saying, well, that's too short a time period.
Right.
Really? 16 years?
16 years. It stopped warming 16 years ago.
Nobody is saying it's warming still.
Okay, but go to the beginning because that's not just what he said.
Yeah, he
didn't
more.
just say it's still warming. Listen to this.
As you know, Mark, we can't attribute any particular weather event to climate change.
And yet you do all the time.
What we do know is the temperature around the globe is increasing faster than was predicted even 10 years ago.
Stop.
Faster than predicted 10 years ago.
Excuse me. The hockey stick has been disproven.
Wow.
Faster
oh my gosh.
than it was predicted. No, it's not.
An absolute lie.
Absolute, provable, scientifically provable lie. Nobody followed up on this. But wait, there's more.
We do know that the Arctic ice cap is melting faster than was predicted even 5 years ago.
Not only is it not melting faster than predicted 5 years ago, it's not melting. I mean, that we have the same amount of ice today as we had around, 1932, according to the last article I read on this issue. I mean, there's going to be melting and changing and shifting and moving of ice flow all the time. It's just part of the natural thing. It's not faster. It's not even melting at any sort of alarming rate. It is the same as it was 50 or 60 years ago. This is outrageous. Outrageous. And what was Al Gore predicting? Well, it might not be there at all. The Arctic ice may not even exist.
It's really it's amazing.
And there was more.
We do know that there have been extraordinarily there have been an extraordinarily large number of severe weather events here in North America, but also around the globe.
Again, absolutely untrue. There is no extraordinary number of them. It's about the same as it's always been.
No.
As a matter of fact, hurricanes are down.
No.
By a lot.
No. You need to be
re-educated.
You need to be re-educated and burned in the fires of the Islamic fury, to quote Ahmadinejad. That's incredible to me. Now, I heard this.
Oh, wow.
I heard this. Pat, I didn't have this on in my office yesterday, and I hear from Pat's office. And I just shouted down the hall, turn Obama off, Pat. I knew what he was doing. Turn Obama off. And so he did. He didn't make it to this part. About I don't know, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, Pat heard from down the hall from my office, he said,
and you're hearing this part.
Yeah. Take your own advice, Beck. Take your own advice. That's what I said to Pat. You're not going to believe what he just said about global warming. You're not going to believe it. Okay. Why are they furthering the global warming thing? I'll tell you why. There is an absolute nightmare that is headed your way. If you're tired of Washington and tired of not being able to make any change, I have a solution for you. You go to your local, your mayor, your city council, your county council, your state. You do everything locally, and you can make a real huge impact. And there is something that is part of the agenda of this administration that is absolutely terrifying. It's the UN Agenda 21. This is not a conspiracy theory. You go to the United Nations website and look up Agenda 21, and then you start poking around and see who's responsible. Who's Maurice Strong? Who's responsible for sustainable development? Everybody likes a bike path, right? You should do some research on why the UN is so focused on putting bike paths in your town. Why? Why would they do that? Why do they care? Why does the UN, with everything that's going on, why does the UN care about bike paths of all things in your hometown? That doesn't make any sense. They don't have anything else better to do but to beautify our towns and make it easier? Oh, yes, they do. It's Agenda 21. Next Tuesday, we have a book coming out about Agenda 21, but this is a fiction book. Last night, I got the trailer for it from the house, and I said to Tanya, and I've been working with Ben McPherson. He's an amazing filmmaker, and he is my head partner in the American Dream Labs. And I said to him, Ben, let me tell you a story. And I told him the story of Agenda 21, the new novel. And he said, holy cow. And I said, yeah, I know. So he took the book and he read it. And I said, can you make, because I think it's a series. I think it's a film series. And I said, can you make this into a trailer for me? And he said, holy cow, I don't even know where. Well, he took just the agenda of sustainable life. He took one scene about recycling people and also the food supply. Everybody gets a food cube every day. He just took those two scenes and made the most terrifying 90-second trailer you've ever seen. I mean, I watched it last night and I was like, oh my gosh, this is scary. Tanya said to me last night, it was about 11:30 when we finally got to bed, and I said, Tanya, watch this, tell me what you think. And she looked at me, she was just stunned. And she looked at me and she said, are you out of your mind? And I said, what? And she said, you're showing this to me right before you turn off the light? Are you crazy?
It's
terrifying.
It really is.
It is terrifying. This
really
is the scariest book. Look, Simon & Schuster came to me 4 years ago, and they said to me, would you read this book? And they said, it is one of the best written books we've ever received. We printed it. It sold about 400 copies because it's so long and it is so terrifying, and it's based on the Holocaust. And I said, you got to be kidding me. Really? You want me to read 800 pages on the why? And they said, because we think it can be edited and repackaged and sold. And we think it is quintessential American literature. I read it. I couldn't get through it. It was so good. It's called, what was it? The Children's War, I think. It is so good, but it is the scariest, most depressing book I've ever read in my life. And I've read a lot of them. But really well researched, and it was just amazing. And I said, I can't do anything with this. It's too frightening. It's too frightening. So, we passed on helping on that. This book, luckily, we have injected hope into this book. So it's not a book that you're going to read as a dirge, but if you've read any Stephen King, you will read this book. It is terrifying. Terrifying. So all your friends who like Stephen King, any friend that liked The Hunger Games, you're going to like this book. Now, I had a problem with The Hunger Games because I'm watching The Hunger Games and I'm like,
it's bleak.
It's bleak, and it could happen. Now, they didn't assign what happened, how it got there, and everything else, so it made it a little more tolerable. Your friends will read Agenda 21, and they'll think that it's The Hunger Game until they get to the end. If you don't know anything about Agenda 21, read this book first and get through this amazing, amazing story. But when you get to the end, the last chapter tells you exactly what in the book is true, what the policies are based on the United Nations' own website. Everything that's in this book is a direct takeaway from policies that are on the UN website.
The original story came from a woman who didn't believe it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't she
No,
hear?
she watched me on Fox.
Yeah, and she thought, no, that can't be. And she looked it up.
Right.
And then she realized, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, she said, I can't, that's not true. It can't be true. And she was a big fan. And I said, do your own homework. Don't believe me on this. Do your own homework. She started to do her own homework. She became obsessed with it. And she's like, we have got to get this story out. We have to tell people. We have to wake people up to this story. So she started writing this book. And she came to me, and we were just finishing Overton 2. Overton 2 was supposed to come out next week. We got this. This is a story that you can take and actually do something about. Once you get this story out, you alert all your friends, and then you go right to your city council and you stop Agenda 21 because it's happening in your town. I guarantee you, I don't care if you're in Iowa in the middle of nowhere, it's in your city council. And most of the people involved don't know because it all sounds good. Sustainable development. What? That's not a problem. It's all being sold as a good thing. They don't know. They've never done the homework, and not conspiracy theory homework. The leading opponent on this is a liberal Democrat. She's the one who's leading the charge and saying, this has got to stop. This is evil. She's a liberal Democrat. This is not a partisan thing. And this one can be stopped, and it has to be stopped.
That's the hope.
That's
in the book, because the trailer we watched this morning, I didn't see a lot of hope.
No. Because the trailer is just showing some of the agenda. But honestly, I rewrote a lot of it because, I mean, you see what's happening with the children based on the United Nations. You see what's happening to the children, the indoctrination, and the way they're taken from the parents have no power anymore. The parents aren't parents anymore. You're just a birth unit. And so I've changed some things in the book to be able to have the mother. And the way it ended before, like, baby dies, mom's alone, and you're like, okay, not happy. And this we wrote, so mom's a hero, baby is, I don't want to tell you everything, but it's got hope in it. It's got hope in it. And it's just, it is a thriller. But when you watch it and you read it, you'll be like, holy cow, that can't be true. It's all footnoted in the back. It's a great novel. Agenda 21 available in bookstores everywhere next Tuesday. Pre-order it right now at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. And get this one to all your friends. We are trying to be able to arm you with information, but in an entertaining and unique way. And already, it must hit to the core. This is why the president was talking about this. He needs sustainable development. He needs Agenda 21 to happen. Right. And the only way that you can really do that is if you can sell climate change. That's why he's doing it still. Now, listen to this. If you see there's an amazing story from, I'll just show the headline here, Pat. Look at this headline. Isn't this great? Glenn Beck's new book looks incredible.
Oh, yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
Doesn't that look great? That's the headline. Glenn Beck's new book looks incredible. We're going to have to put this on the back of the jacket for future editions. Mother Jones.
Mother Jones liked your book?
Well, it's not out, so they haven't been able to read it in advance. But what they're saying, we must be onto it, because whenever we do something and the left attacks immediately without even taking a breath, you're on the right track.
Yeah, before it's even come out.
Right. And so what they mean in this is it looks incredible because it's crazy. They're saying that Agenda 21 is going to be, oh, man, are we on it? Are we on it? Agenda 21 available in bookstores everywhere on Tuesday. Order your copy right now.